Hey, Brian Young here, back with choosing the best book scanning technology part 2. I'm going to jump right in. We have a lot of slides to get to, a lot of information. If I'm not fast enough, this video series is going to turn into 3 or 4 videos instead of 2. So I just want you to excuse me. I'm going to move through really quickly some of the other book scanning technologies that you should be considering as you're looking to purchase some equipment and some apps and some programs for your business. The next one you should consider after Scoutify is Nitoscan. Nitoscan is a Minnesota-based company. They have both an iPhone app and an Android app, as well as a PDA program. So a PDA, like the photo here on the right-hand side, is used to be a device that was really popular in the late 90s. A great little organizer that you could do some email and go on the internet a little bit with, but now largely obsolete, except instead of using your phone, you can download the Amazon database for books and some other categories, and you can use it for the sole purpose of sourcing books. And there's some benefits to that. We'll get into that in a minute. First, we're going to look at their app, their smartphone app. They call it Nitopricer. Now, the neat thing about Nitopricer is that it is a backup database. So you can operate it live using Wi-Fi and cell phone signal. But if you don't have either of those, it has a database downloaded on it. And so that's a nice little perk. You're not tied to sales and thrift stores that have Wi-Fi or have cell reception, because that can sometimes be a problem when you're sourcing books in some of these remote locations. It scans more than just books on its backup database. You can scan everything when you have reception, but if you don't have reception, it stores up to, they say, 21 different categories of product information, and it's $50 a month. You can see that the layout's very simple and looks kind of complex. You can look at all the little symbols and what they mean down here on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. New, like new, very good, good, acceptable. Again, once you get used to what these symbols mean, it's going to be very quick for you to look at the screen and rapidly determine if this book in particular is worth reselling, buying to resell on Amazon. Now, the pros of Nitopricer is that it has a database, like I said, so you don't have to rely on cell phone signal. And I think this is a key. I think this is what sets Nitopricer and the next one, which is A Seller Tool, apart from Scoutify. It has high speed because there's not a lot of bells and whistles. It's not loading a lot of like fancy looking images. It loads it faster. So not only when you're on Wi-Fi, but also when you're on the database scanning books. And also, like I said, you can do things beyond the book category. So if you wanted to head on over to the toy and game section at a thrift store, you could use Nitopricer for that as well. The cons are that the cost is high, $50 a month. It's more expensive than both Scoutify and the other option that I'm going to share with you here in a minute, A Seller Tool. It lacks a lot of the features that Scoutify has. I mean, that's just, you sacrifice some of those for speed, but you can't access camel. You can't access Keepa, you can't look at eBay, completed listings, you can't check other marketplaces, you just can't do that kind of stuff. You can't click on the link, you can't actually go to the Amazon page. I mean, there's a lot of things you can't do. The other con is that it takes up 2 gigabytes of space. And so maybe you have that kind of space on your phone for the Amazon database, but maybe you don't. If you're hiring people to do some sourcing for you, you're going to need to take that into consideration. It could just be buying them or having them buy a bigger memory card for their smartphone. Now, Nitoscan is the PDA, the Palm Pilot version of the program, and it's 100% offline, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Same price, $50 a month. It's 100% database driven, which means that there's no live lookup possibilities. It's all on this unit. I guess the layouts are very simple. Here's a key at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Again, it's just, like with all these programs, once you get familiar with what the readout is saying, once you get comfortable with it, it's really easy to rapidly look at the screen and go. Now, the pros of Nitoscan is that, again, it's a database-driven one, so it's very high speed. Like literally, you're able to scan books at just rapidly bringing up numbers like half a second fast. So you're not waiting for the camera in the back of your phone to focus in and out and to click a picture of the barcode. It's literally very, very fast, which is good because you need, again, the more books you get through in the faster amount of time, the more profitable books you're going to find. And that's usually the name of the game when you're out there sourcing. There's so many books, and the goal is to get them as fast as possible. And so this is a real fast piece of technology here. You don't need a smartphone. So maybe some of the people you're going to hire to be working for you don't have smartphones, or don't have smartphones that are compatible with some of these fancier apps. So you don't have to worry about that. They just buy this separate piece of equipment, and it's very durable, and they can source books with it, and then they can go back to using whatever phone they want for their personal reasons. Now the cons is that, again, the cost is a little high, $50 a month, and it's not as sexy. It doesn't look as good. It's not as appealing to the eye, and just something worth mentioning. So in conclusion, I think what NitoScan offers is a step in the right direction. I don't think they're the best on the market. And we're going to look at what I consider the best on the market, which is just a couple more steps in that right direction with Pt.2. Now, Pt.2 is just like NitoScan. They do smartphone. They also do PDA programs. Now, they have some really cool features. Now, let's start with FBA Scan. That's their smartphone app. It's much cheaper. It's $30 to $40 a month, depending on what you want. And then the more accounts that you add, the more scanning devices that you add, that rate goes down. So you pay cheaper per month. So if you have a team of 5, 6, 7 people out there, and they all have their different devices, it's going to cost significantly less than what NitoScan would cost. Also, as a backup database, super fast downloads. I say you can refresh your Amazon database in 20 minutes or less. Multiple categories. I don't know if they do 21 or not, but they say they do more than just books. Fast scanning, and then it also has a ton of features. So if you are live, you're able to use some of the same features that Scoutify has, which is really neat. And so here's the outlook here. It looks a little different. This is the FBA scan. So this is what your iPhone or your Android phone would look like. See, down at the bottom there, they have Camel, Camel, Camel. They have Book Scouter. They have Amazon. You click on that Amazon little button, it brings you right to the Amazon listing page. Sometimes there's some problems with some of the data that we're getting, and you're able to click there and look at the actual live listing. eBay completed listings. Tons of information here. Like you can see, there's a buy cart, and again, sales rank, profitability, all the regular stuff you get, plus a lot extra. So here's the cons, or the pros first rather. Has a database, which is great. That means if you're sourcing books and you just want to go fast mode, or you run out of Wi-Fi or cell reception, with the click of a button, you switch over to the database mode and you're able to fly through those books as fast as possible. But if you do want to go live and you want to take advantage of some of those features, like Camel, 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 and Book Scouter, and Amazon, looking at the Amazon listing page, you can do that too. Now the cons are similar with NitoScan. You need to have 2 gigabytes worth of space available on the phone to be able to house the database, and also you need a smartphone. So again, it's just considering what your team is going to look like, what kind of phone that they have. You're going to have to work through the compatibility issues with some of the phones, I'm sure, but just some cons to consider. Now the PDA scouting program by Pt.2 is similar in the fact it's $30 per device, unless you're buying more than one. Offline scanning, same thing. It's a very clean interface. I know it looks really basic. I'm going to kind of go over what exactly this screen means here. So we look at a closer look. If you want a full layout, a full key of what all these things are, you can. But if you start from the top, it has number 1 is the barcode number. So that auto populates when you have a scanning device with it. You can set your triggers on both NitoScan and Pt.2 to tell you whether or not to buy. And I find that if you're not sourcing product that's consistently of the same cost and the same condition, it's really hard, because it's not going to be able to differentiate between whether or not you're sourcing a very good conditioned book, or a like new, or an acceptable. And then what if one book that you scan costs you $1, but the next one scans you $2? So you can't, because you can't enter that consistent criteria in, it's not going to give you a consistent layout, but it is possible. So you do have that option. It gives you the title, then it has 4 lines. So it's used, merchant fulfilled on the top, then the blue line is new merchant fulfilled, then it's used FBA, then new FBA, then right below that it's rank, battery life, and then offers, and a few other things that you can look up. But I mean, all the information that you really need to make really quick decisions. And we don't use the buy triggers. We just train our book sources to be able to look at this screen and really quickly determine whether or not it's a book that meets our criteria. So pros, Database, high speed, durable. Again, these PDAs have been around since the mid late 90s, and they are extremely durable. People drop them all the time, and they're just really like rigidly built, which is great for our purposes. The cons: lack of live lookup. You're not going to be able to look up things live. Lack of features. You can't really click anywhere on here. You can't go to the Amazon listing page. I mean, you couldn't with any of the offline programs anyways. I mean, the other con is there's no picture on here. So, maybe the book that you have is a little different on the cover. You're not going to be able to tell that here. And that also requires a scanner. So you buy the PDA, and you can get the PDA for super cheap. You're going to have to buy the scanner that goes on top of it, and that's going to cost some money. We'll get into that in a minute here. So in conclusion, we feel like Aceller Tool meets and exceeds all of our expectations for scanning devices, or for scanning technology. Now, it's not perfect, but we feel like it's the best that the market has to offer. So before we wrap up, I'm just going to lay out some honorable mentions. Now, there's some programs out there that are good that just didn't make the cut, the final 3 cut. ScanPower is one of them. If you go to scanpower.com, they charge $40 a month. Now, they don't have a database feature. It's live lookup only, but they do have some unique features very similar to Scoutify. I feel like Scoutify kind of covers all the bases, but there is some variation there. So be sure to check out ScanPower if you're looking to branch out from what we've recommended here. The other one I really recommend that everybody has, and you should have this on your phone anyways, is the Amazon Seller app. Now, it's a free app. It's made and put together by Amazon, and not only does it help you track sales, but you can also look up product. Now, the readout when you're scanning product and looking up isn't really good. It doesn't give you a variety of prices. It wouldn't be my favorite one, but if you're just starting out and maybe you're looking around your house for books to seed your business, to grow your business, this would be a good one to start with. Now, the one that was like the first one on the market, the one that we saw when we first started out, was Profit Bandit. And that one's right here, and that was really kind of like just the basic scanning device. It's $9.99 per month. This is what you get. This is the readout here. So it looks like you're getting some of the same features with Profit Bandit as you would get with Scoutify. Now, I haven't used Profit Bandit in probably 3 or 4 years, but I do know some people that are very religious about it. They love it. They think it's a great tool. So check it out. As far as I know, they don't have a backup database for their scanning app, so I still would favor FBA Scan over any of these other options here. So that's going to wrap up the video on scanning. There is going to be another video on choosing some book scanning equipment, and that's going to come shortly, so be sure to keep your eye out for that as well. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this video to be helpful.